All right, Alberta Combat Seminars, fanboy, here with the coach, Coach Aaron Kapachowski, breaking down UFC 249. First fight of the night, Alvy versus Spann. Alvy's an old-time big Edmonton boy, fought here in Edmonton a whole bunch of times under the MFC banner, won a light heavyweight championship. Always brought his wife here, which people seem to pay more attention to. Who do you got in this one?
Spann.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Alvy's lost his last 3. What do you see in Spann that's going to make this a quick night?
I mean, everyone in that division is going to hit hard. When you're fighting a guy that seasoned, that old, like, I think he's on his way out. I think any young gun is going to come out there and just push a pace, go too fast in the first round, and that's going to be it.
Look for Sam Alvy's wife to be crying in the corner on that one. Next up, we got Mitchell versus Rosa. This is a pretty easy one of the fan favorite side. Us country boys, we love Mitchell. Last fight, calls out Reebok and wants some camo shorts. Going up against Charles Rosa. What do you see in Rosa?
I think Rosa's a pretty generic guy. What do I see in Rosa? I think I see the UFC handing Mitchell another win. You got a guy that's red hot, 12-0. Most, it might be all submission finishes. They're not going to throw anything at him that's going to surprise him. They're not going to throw anything at him that dangerous. They want a guy like Bryce Mitchell in the elite level. They're going to give him a win.
Pretty simple on that one. It's in Jacksonville, Florida. That's quite country comparatively to where Louisiana is. It's Florida. So yeah, that's an easy Mitchell one. Next up is Nico Price versus Vicente Luque. Fan side of this, meh, it's a rematch from like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't see either of these guys really making it big, but they are a little exciting when they're fighting out the top 15. Price is coming off that wicked up kick knockout. What do you got here?
I don't have much of a pick on this one. Like you said, I don't see either one of these guys as super exciting up-and-comers. It's going to be a good fight. It's well matched. I don't see this as being this isn't a next contender if they win.
Definitely not, definitely not. I'm hoping for a little bit of blood here. It being a rematch and Price being on the losing end last time. I think he's still going to lose, but I'm hoping for blood. Give me some blood on this one. Give me some blood on the early prelims. I paid frickin' $10 a month for that UFC Fight Pass. Give me some blood on the card. After that, you got Uriah Hall versus Jacare. Now, this seems pretty easy because Uriah Hall's so flip-floppy. It's so easy to bet against him and pick against him. Yeah, does he have exciting wins that we all want to see? Absolutely, but I think Jacare's got this in the bag.
Yeah, me too. I think, the obvious statement is Jacare's got to get it to the ground. If it's on the ground, Jacare has the easy win. But even standing, Jacare just went to a split decision, I think, with Jan Blachowicz.
Paul, you got no chance, buddy. That just right there. You went to a split decision with Jan Blachowicz, who always stands up. Sorry, Hall, you're out on this one.
Yeah.
Next up is our only girls' fight of the night. We're going to conflict on this one. Esparza versus Waterson. I got Waterson hands down in this. Esparza's old guard that's just hanging on based on her history and what she's done for the sport. She was one of the first women into the UFC, and she was the first 115-pound champion, and she lost it in her second fight. Obviously, we all love Waterson. What do you got?
So I think Waterson is actually the higher caliber fighter. I think just matchup-wise, this is a bad matchup for her. Waterson doesn't hit that hard. She's a point fighter. All right.
That goes with the karate style, kind of mostly.
Right. All of her finishes are submission finishes. Not all of them. Most of them are submission finishes. I don't think you're going to take Esparza down. Esparza is the better wrestler. So when you're playing a movement-based, kicking-based striking game, you're easy prey for a wrestler. I think Esparza can take her down. I think Esparza can hold her down and rough her up. And every second that she does that, it's going to be that much harder for Michelle to use her footwork, use her speed, use her kicks once they're stood back up. And I think you're going to see Michelle's striking go down. She's going to slow down. She's going to hit less. Esparza is going to take over more and more and more.
That's some pretty good analysis. I just want Waterson to win because she's better looking. Another heavyweight fight, Oleinik versus Verdum. I see these guys going in two different trajectories here. Oleinik coming up, Verdum going down. What do you got on this one?
I think, again, this is another horrible matchup. I would not have taken this fight if I'm Oleinik's coach. Oleinik's a submission grappler, right? And he's not a jiu-jitsu wizard. He catches sneaky, strange submissions. He catches heel hooks and leg locks and Ezekiel chokes. You're going against a world champion jiu-jitsu competitor in Verdum, who's also got better striking, in my opinion. Verdum's Muay Thai, he beat Mark Hunt with it. Fakes the takedown, comes into the knee, knocks out Mark Hunt. I don't think that Oleinik can stand with him, so then what do? You take him down? I don't think you want to take down a world champion jiu-jitsu guy of Verdum's caliber. I mean, Verdum like pulls guard, essentially, in some of his fights. That's how comfortable he is. So, and Oleinik's only chance, I think, is catching a sneaky thing and really cranking it, which he could do. He's done it in the past, but I just don't see a savvy fighter like Verdum fall into one of those.
Yeah, Verdum's one of those guys that he's just always going to be up there. I don't know why I got Oleinik. I just think that sambo wrestling kind of stuff is just, it's going up, and the jiu-jitsu is kind of coming down. Numbers will probably prove me wrong on that, but and it's hard to hate that Verdum smile at the end. That's probably one of the best things he's got. So I'm choosing Oleinik, and we'll call it an upset. Screw it. Let's have some fun with it. All right, next one. This is like the fan favorite fight of the night, hands down. Maybe not hands down. That main event is pretty, I guess, yeah. I'm gonna cut, you know what? This is my fight of the night. Easy. Pettis, Cerrone, battle of who shows up. Both these guys are wishy-washy when they don't know, and you don't know until the fight's over. Who do you got?
Man, this is a fight I do not care about. I was saying to you earlier, this is such a gatekeeper fight for me. Neither one of these guys, in my opinion, is ever going to fight an elite level in the top 5 again. Neither one of them's ever going to hold a belt. What are we on? 2-fight losing streak for Pettis, 3-fight losing streak for Cerrone. They're the most inconsistent guys, I think, in the whole roster.
I also believe this is at 170 pounds.
Yes. Pettis just had his last win against Wonderboy. That he was losing. So he was losing that fight. He got that big punch, knocked him out. Okay, I don't really count that as a great performance. They're both great on the ground. They're both great strikers. They're both slow starters. So, but we've also just seen blueprints on how to beat both of them. All right, Nate Diaz just showed us a clear blueprint on what to do to Pettis to win. And Cowboy has those tools. Cowboy can stay in his face, put him against the cage, rough him up. We also just saw Conor McGregor show us what to do against Cowboy. Come out and swing at him, and you'll beat him in a minute. Pettis has those tools. Pettis has one-punch knockout power. He could flurry and go after him. I don't think either of them will. I think this is going to be a sloppy exchange between two over-the-hill fighters.
Pretty simple on the fan side. I got Cowboy all day. That's my country boy. The guy just spent the last month building a bar and named it after his kid. Like, how can you not cheer for that guy? That's pretty simple. I'm hoping he comes out and he's jacked and just ready to beat the crap out of Pettis. And I can't pick a guy against a guy that comes to Edmonton every now and then. And Cerrone, if you end up watching this, Kingdom MMA. That's where he'll be.
Right after I trash him.
Next one is the fight that nobody wants to see. This should have been buried. Greg Hardy versus DeCastro. And it just seems that they hype up the guy this is the guy that's gonna beat up Hardy. This is the guy that's gonna put that woman beater in the ground. And I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna fall for it every time just because I wanna see Hardy end up being mauled. DeCastro, round one. That's how heavyweight fights should go. If they go past a second, I lose interest. I could care less. What do you got on there?
This is an interesting one. I've gone back and forth. To me, Castro's undefeated, but he's undefeated against fairly untested opponents. I mean, Greg Hardy's...
He did just knock out Junior Taffa.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody loves Junior Taffa, the shoey guy. Come on.
Like, Greg Hardy's last fight was a loss. It was a loss against a high-level guy. I don't think Greg Hardy's wrestling is going to be good enough. But I'm concerned about... I am concerned about DeCastro's experience in the cage, like his lack of. I think he can knock out Greg Hardy. Of course, he's shown he can knock out anybody. But I think Greg Hardy's going to be able to out-athlete him, overwhelm him, put him on the cage, keep a higher pace for longer. I see DeCastro fading by the second or third and it being all Hardy.
Oh man, picking Hardy. What a greasy move. Next one is another big fight of the night. Qatar versus Stevens. Now, Qatar, he can chuck him, but nobody in 145 chucks him like Jeremy Stevens. I love seeing this guy fight. He's an old guard type of guy that's having another resurgence. He's training with another guy fighting for a champ with Cruz. They've been training this whole quarantine thing. I don't see how Stevens loses this fight. I just don't. I don't think Qatar has enough. But again, Stevens is doing those kind of more fan-friendly fights, and I think that's what Qatar gives us.
This is another interesting one. On paper, I say Stevens. He's fought the elite level guys. He is on a 3-fight losing streak, but it's against some of the best in the division. I think Qatar has the skills to do it. I think he's actually a better striker in my opinion, even though he doesn't hit as hard. He's more technical, but can he use that? Can he do what Yair Rodriguez did and outmove Stevens and pick him apart? I don't know.
I don't think so at all. Qatar looks so stone-foot, it's not even fun.
His last fight against Zabit Nurmagomedov, it's like, well, is that a good litmus test? Because everybody
both lost to Zabit.
That's it, because everybody looks bad against him. So I don't really have a read on Qatar. I think he's got the tools to do it, but I don't think he will.
So in typical fashion, I forgot a fight on the first breakdown there, so I'm just gonna record this, get Aaron to record something, And of all the fights, it was Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstruck. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Who cares? This is a heavyweight freaking beatdown. Does it make it past the first minute? Maybe. Doubtful. If it gets out of the first round, fight sucked. Garbage fight. Who do you got, Aaron?
So the big heavyweight fight. Everyone's calling for a super fast knockout. I don't know. Let's not forget Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. That was supposed to be a big knockout fight as well, and both guys were so afraid that nothing happened. And that happens sometimes when both guys have huge power. So we could see that again. If I'm breaking down skill, I think Ngannou's probably the more refined mixed martial artist. He's fought, the best heavyweights that there are right now. Rosenstruck, he's an elite level kickboxer. This isn't kickboxing though. So he should actually be the better striker, but we'll see. He's a very dynamic striker. He's got head kicks. He's got check hooks. He's got some fancy stuff. Ngannou is kind of a simple, straightforward boxer low kicker. I'm going to say Ngannou for this one, but I actually suspect it's not going to be as exciting as everybody thinks.
Next up is the smallest guys on the card. 135-pound title fight. Cruz versus Cejudo. This is kind of hard to pick from a fan side. It is, you got the king of cringe, who challenges anybody and everybody, including the women champions, versus Cruz, who is probably the most analytical fighter there is in the UFC. Top of the broadcast, he does the best shows. He's way better than Cormier, and Cormier is one of the best guys they have. I'm gonna take Cruz just because I want to see him champ again, and Cejudo, he's tough to like with his little weirdness, but it's hard to bet against Cejudo because of the amazing skills he has.
This was a tough one for me. I've gone back and forth a few times. I mean, like the keys to victory, when you look at Dominic Cruz's fights, everybody talks about his footwork and his striking, but I think it's actually the takedowns that he lands that seals the deal. He doesn't do that much damage. He doesn't knock people out. He's not a volume guy overwhelming them with strikes. He picks apart, and it's close every round, and he nails a takedown. So can he do that against the Olympic gold medalist, Henry Cejudo? It's not a wrestling match, it's MMA, so he might be able to. He's also coming in with a huge size advantage, which can play a part.
Yeah, that's going to be something for Cejudo. Yeah, that 135 for Cejudo, that's pretty comfortable for him. Cruz doesn't look like that big of a 135er. What, he maybe gets to between 145, 150 when he's on time off?
It's his height. He's really tall. I mean, we just saw Cejudo take out a tall, long striker in Marlon Moraes, which he's not the same as Cruz. I think this one goes all 5 rounds. I think Cruz probably loses a close decision because I don't think he's going to be able to seal the takedowns. If he seals the takedowns, Cruz will win. I think he's going to slow down, and I think Henry Cejudo's pace is going to get into his head. He's going to be getting on top of him, and I think Henry Cejudo will take down Cruz.
And I think we can all agree that's the worst part about MMA is the takedowns score so heavily. The guy can literally just touch his butt to the ground, he gets back up, they call it a takedown, and that's practically a round winner, unless I haven't seen anything else that beats a takedown in a round.
I mean, if it's a close round, yeah, I think if Cruz takes him down and Cejudo hits him hard, I think Cejudo can hit harder than Cruz. If Cejudo hits him harder and you see Cruz's legs wobble, I think you'll see Cejudo be winning those rounds.
Yeah, I'm still gonna pick Cruz. King of cringe, he's a hard one to bet against, but I'm just gonna go with Cruz as an old time thing. Next main event, the one we don't really want, but it's still a great fight if you ask me. You got Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. Justin Gaethje to me is like a way better Chris Lieben. Really think about it. He can get hit and he keeps on coming at you in that zombie mode, and then boom, you're down. It's crazy. Then you got Tony Ferguson, who is probably the best example of how the Eddie Bravo jiu-jitsu system works in MMA. You cannot disagree that Tony Ferguson is probably one of the best lightweights of all time. Then he's going up against Justin Gaethje, who's probably going to be a perennial top 5 no matter in the 155-pound division, no matter what, for a long time. I'm going to take Tony Ferguson on this. But the thing is I hate Tony's personality. It's just the weirdest thing. He says the weirdest stuff. I can't watch him. I don't follow him on Instagram or any social media because I just can't stand what he says. He's just the weirdest guy ever. But he'll get Justin down and he'll just slice him with those elbows, and it's gonna be bloody. And that's what we want, baby.
I've gone back and forth on this one, like all the ones in the main card. I really think it comes down to rounds. I think your first 2 rounds are Gaethje's rounds, and I think after 2.5, his power is going to fade, and Tony's going to take over like he always does. Gaethje's conditioning has shown against Eddie Alvarez, he faded first. Well, I think Tony's got better conditioning, better cardio than Eddie Alvarez. He puts on a crazy pace, but he gets hurt in the first 2 rounds of almost every single fight. he walks through the pocket, he walks through punch range, and he stands there exchanging, I think Justin Gaethje is probably the best puncher he's faced. And if he eats a punch from Justin Gaethje, it could be that. It could be the end. We've never seen Tony go out. We've seen him get hurt. So I think the first 2 rounds we'll see Tony get really hurt and go to the ground. But then what? It's not like that's a bad place for him. He's gonna shoulder roll. If Gaethje wants to jump into his guard, I think that's a bad choice. Tony can sub him. Tony can cut him up from the bottom. After that, they're gonna stand back up. Tony's gonna do it again. And by round 3, 4, 5, Gaethje's power's gonna be gone. He's not gonna drop him. Tony's going to take over.
I really, really hope Justin does not go into any sort of guard situation against Tony. If he falls down, let him recover, bring him back up, do it again. That's more fun for me, anyways.
I think the pace is going to overwhelm him, and I think he'll get through the first 2 rounds. But we just have to watch that, or he's got to watch that. I think that's an issue. If you're going to walk through the striking range of an elite level striker, you're going to get hit. He's showing to get hurt, so.
All right, guys, there's our breakdown of UFC 249. Hit the like and subscribe button. Follow me, Alberta Combat Seminars on Instagram, Coach Swirly on Instagram, Kingdom MMA. And since he picked Hardy, I might have to change out the coach for the next video. Also, don't forget, guys, Clinch Fight Shop. Best store in Alberta for all your MMA gear. He even has an online store, curbside pickup right now during the COVID outbreak. Hit him up for anything MMA-wise you need.